Welcome back to AFTV. I'm here at the Hippodrome. It's my pleasure to introduce Ella. Ella, how are you today?
Well, I'm all right. I'm okay. We need to look at this result with a little pinch of salt, I think, and just look at the bigger picture. Don't get me wrong. I'm a little bit frustrated, but
Yeah, I could see that in the watch along. You were getting
was that
proper.
obvious?
Yeah, I think you were getting a little bit heads up. But I like that. I like the passion, man. I like the emotion. It'll be funny a few of the players had shown that today on the pitch. The scoreline might
Do you know
have
what
been
I think
different.
it was though? I think it's not really about the result, is it? Because on paper, I'm not really that angry with Arsenal drawing to Liverpool, even though it's at home. That's not really the issue I have with today. The issue I have with today is that I just don't really think we turned up at all. And ultimately, when you look at it, the fact that I think we can all kind of admit that Liverpool came to play for a draw, which, by the way, as they should, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in that. But the fact that they only came for a draw and they weren't really creating chances. It wasn't like they were great. All they had to do was keep the ball, and that was enough in the end. So actually, if we would have been just a little bit more switched on, we probably would have won the game. But it's the fact that we just did absolutely nothing in that second half. The second half had me a bit rattled, to be honest, because I don't think we've seen an Arsenal performance like that in a very, very long time.
Yeah, it's rare that you see a team come to the Emirates and have much more of the possession of the ball than Arsenal did and outpass them. And even at times, I think in that second half, Liverpool were registering up to 75% possession, which is virtually unheard of at the Emirates. So I guess you've got to give Liverpool some credit. Why do you think Arsenal were a little bit off it today? Well off it then?
It's a great question, Laurie. It's a really good question. I'm not really sure there are a lot of excuses. You can talk about loads of fixtures and all that, but I'm not sure that's an excuse in a game that's really hyped up and where you've got the entire crowd behind you from minute one. I mean, you've got to try and at least give the fans something to get excited about and to keep cheering for. And the first half wasn't great. It was good. It was all right. But then you look at that first half and you look at the fact that we had a couple chances and the same narrative really that has been playing out for a fair amount of the season, which is that sometimes we are not able to take our chances when we need to. And then we're penalised for that because we're unable to score a goal in the second half. And, if we were to get a goal in the first half, I'm not sure that Liverpool maybe would have been able to come back.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think what I saw in the second half, I mean, I'll ask your opinion in a second, but for me, I think the boys look they look nervy. Almost like they didn't want to make a mistake. They were aware that Liverpool had threats on the pitch. And I just think they looked a bit nervous. There were passes that seemed pretty obvious to me that we could make. We didn't. We deliberated over the ball for far too long. The wingers were getting past the defenders at times and not putting the ball in as you would expect. For me, they look nervous.
Yeah, it's very rare where you see an Arsenal team where they're unable to string like 3 or 4 basic passes. I think there's a lot of things that we're missing today. But the fact that we weren't really able to hold on to the ball was where we slipped up massively because we gave Liverpool such a large amount of possession, particularly in the second half. But yeah, it's really difficult to look at what went wrong. I think in the kind of reverse of that, I personally think you need to give Liverpool a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's nothing shameful about coming to play for a draw at the Emirates, a place that's been very difficult for teams to come and play this season. And ultimately, we saw what happened when Manchester City came and kind of played in a similar way, and it makes it extremely difficult for Arsenal. I still think we should have been better, regardless of the way that Liverpool set up and how they were defensively strong and compact. But yeah, we find it really difficult to play against teams when they sit back like that. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool played much better than us, and it's a great result for them. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Victor Gyökeres, let's talk about him because much was made of him coming into the game, as it has been for a few games recently. I've got to say, he barely featured. He got hooked shortly after half-time, and it was not a good night for him. What was your thoughts on his performance?
Yeah, today wasn't great. He must have had a handful of touches of the ball today.
If that.
Literally, if that. But we kind of were speaking about it on the watch along, and I think to some extent, a lot of this season, when he's been getting some slack, some of that is deserved, but some of that maybe not. I think he has made valuable contributions, even if that's not been him putting the ball in the back of the net. But yeah, today, I mean, there were a couple of chances where the ball was swung into the box and he kind of was nowhere to be seen. And ultimately, as a number 9, I'm kind of hoping that he gets into those type of positions. That's being a little bit nitpicky today because I think no one had an amazing game. But yeah, we're seeing a lot of the same stuff. And all I'm going to say is, you know, at the 60th minute when I'm looking at the bench and I'm like, I think we need to bring Gabriel Jesus on, just wait until Havertz gets back because he's got major competition. And I know that he does deliver in some ways and he does contribute. But if he's not really doing a lot, he's not going to start. Like, Arteta's not going to start you if you don't deserve to start. And Gabriel Jesus has come back. And in a handful of games, he has looked much more convincing, in my opinion. And that's obviously a testament to Jesus and his quality. But also, it's like Gyökeres has to step up his game because no one just earns their place in this team.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. Although I've got to be honest, my perception is slightly different with respect. I think that we didn't give him any service at all today. I mean, people can talk about making runs to the near post, but I didn't see the team like actively trying to give him the passes or put the crosses in. As I said before, there were times when the wingers went past their defender, and for some reason they were hesitant to put the ball in the middle for him to even contest it. I just think that we're still struggling to come to terms with how he plays, and vice versa. And I just think we need to look at that because we're not getting the best out of him by a long way.
Yeah, to be fair though, I think I've also been saying for quite a while that I think, and a lot of people have been saying this as well, it's not a unique opinion, but I think two things can be true at the same time. And we've said that a lot, that one, I think he's underperforming, but two, he's obviously not getting the fair service. So both of those are true at the same time. Yes, he has to step up his game. Yes, the service has to be better. So, you know, both of those are true. And yeah, you're right. You know, I think a game like today, it was quite difficult for him to get a service because, to be honest, we were struggling to get the ball into the final third. But yeah, I think that's very much a fair point as well.
You know what? I'm thinking here. I'm struggling to come up with a player that is worthy of man of the match today. Have you got any suggestions? Because I was going to ask you who was man of the match, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I mean, Saka performed quite well in the first half, but fell away in the second. Madueke came on, had an initial burst. First 10 minutes or so, he looked lively, but honestly, I'm struggling.
Yeah, I'm also struggling, to be honest. I think Timber's always consistently good. Rice, there was a few times in the second half where he literally was the only person winning the ball back. But even for his own standards, today he was probably poor, which everyone's allowed an off day, you know, he's only a human being. Maybe Gabriel or Saliba, it is difficult.
There's no standouts.
No, I think that's fair, to be
agree.
honest.
But at the end of the day, you know, we didn't win the game, we didn't concede, we didn't lose. 6 points difference between us and Man City, so we're still in a good place, right?
Yeah, we're in a very good place, really good place. A draw at home to Liverpool is not something to be ashamed about. I wanted the statement win, of course, like we all did. But I'm not saying we could afford to draw today, but in a way we could because of the form of a lot of other teams that are in the top of the table at the moment. So, you know, we're lucky in a sense that City have been poor and that today's result doesn't massively impact things. 8 points would have been lovely, but I don't doubt that we can carry on performing well and we can keep a lead. And I'm always going to be a bit worried about City because it's Man City and it's Pep Guardiola and they've done it million times before. And they're going strong in January. I think they're going to be active. But yeah, let's see. I'm confident. I'm really still confident in Arsenal.
I agree. And like they say, Ella, if you can't win the game, don't lose it. So
absolutely.
That's what we've done. But anyway, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Listen, following football costs enough money already, so don't let your mobile bill mug you off. Rocket Mobile gives you unlimited everything for £16 a month. No nonsense. Powered by Vodafone and Free, plus exclusive content and prizes when you switch on over. Scan the QR code or click the link and put that cash back into football.